We're rolling. If you're ready, here we go.
Let's go. I think.
Let's go. It's time. Put on play pants.
All right, and away we go. Episode 53, and we took a little hiatus. We took a little break, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Rod, hold on. Don't go anywhere. Not that you can. We'll get into that in just a second, man. Rod, Ryan, Jason Ginty, the Play Pants Podcast, episode 53. I think we're going to have a wild one tonight because we got a lot to cover. And I want to mention the sponsors, by the way. Pirates of the Quarter Tours. You go to New Orleans, you hit that tour up. It's awesome. And make sure you check us out on the social media platforms at Play Pants Pod. We appreciate the patience on, anytime we take a week off, everyone's like, oh, bro, no podcast. And I'm like, I always feel really, really bad. You know what I mean? Like, apparently people actually do enjoy listening to this, Rod. But the reason last week didn't happen is because you got a bobo. You got a little boo-boo, and I'm sure you've talked about it in Houston, but there are probably people who listen to this podcast who may not necessarily listen to your show, and I don't want to go too far down the road, but I see crutches. If you watch this on YouTube, there's crutches in the background.
Those are my buddies.
You've sent me some really horrific fucking photos. Please stop doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just going to throw out a couple of questions before we get rolling here.
Okay.
I know you got one of those. I don't even know what it's called. It's got the one wheel. It's like a skateboard with a one wheel on it.
It's exactly called a one wheel.
Okay. Well, that was easy. So it wasn't that.
No.
You have a motorcycle, or you had to at one point. I got
a couple of bikes.
Okay. It wasn't that.
No.
Okay. I know you've been doing some crazy shit. You've done some airplane stuff. It wasn't that.
By the time you get to escalator, we'll be like 4 hours in. You're going to go through all these different things. It was an escalator that was not running, but everyone was using it, and I'm going down the escalator with everybody. And then boom, I made a wrong step. The way that I fell completely tore. It's the freakiest thing ever. My doctor doesn't believe me when I told him how it happened. And it completely tore. If everyone would do me the kindness of put your leg out and like touch above your kneecap, and you feel like how hard it is.
Oh, yeah.
Right above your knee. Okay. So that's the tendon right there. So my right leg was mush. Okay. That's the tendon that tore. It connects, like it holds your thigh to your knee, or your quad to your knee. And it just ripped. Freak accident, nothing cool. I didn't fall off of a bull. I wasn't bull riding. I wasn't running with the bulls. Nothing cool at all. I mean, not even like wood shop, nothing cool. I fell, went down. Everybody giggled. Rod Ryan fell, because it was after BuzzFest. And I know everybody's going to say, well, you were wasted. And I do have a reason why I wasn't wasted. Which I hadn't really talked about, but I really can back it up why I wasn't that drunk. I had a couple of beers. There's no doubt about that. I was ready to turn it up at the Marriott bar because I had held back for most of the show.
Right.
I was going to do, and this is off topic a little bit, but I was going to do a moment of silence at BuzzFest for the Uvalde school shootings. And I didn't want to go up there and do it drunk, obviously. And I had never done one of those before. Have you ever done a moment of silence? I mean, we've been put in weird situations, but have you ever asked everybody? I wasn't going to ask anybody to pray. I wasn't going to ask everybody to bow their heads and pray or anything like that. But I was just going to simply ask for a moment of silence. In all of my years of doing ridiculous requests and announcements and everything, I've never had to do that.
I used to be the on ice announcer for the New Orleans Brass ECHL hockey team years ago.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And occasionally something would come up, and it wasn't my idea. It wasn't something I was just the guy reading the script. So there was no you couldn't see me. I was hiding down below, off the ice. So there was no pressure, although you really took it. You put a little extra effort into not screwing that up because that's awful. you know?
Yeah. And
So-
it was gonna be done. You know, I didn't want to, there's no way like I'm going to do a moment of silence and give it up for Bush. It wasn't going to be like that,
Right.
but it was going to be before Bush went on stage. And I just wanted to be, I wanted to do it way early on. And I was just going to make it really simple. And then Bush was having some technical difficulties. So I got pushed back to the next one. So, okay, I'm not really going to drink. And now, then they're calling me up, before Papa Roach and the headliner. And like, I'm going to introduce all the band, my coworkers and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not doing it here. So I ended up really not drinking all that much at BuzzFest because I was constantly anticipating going up on stage at the next thing. So we don't have to get into that. It's something that never happened. My thought was there. I really wanted to do it. I seeked out a little bit of advice from people and whether they thought it was a good idea or not. But that's my story why I wasn't like wasted. And I'm going down this escalator and I'm ready to go to the Marriott bar to really get wasted because it was a great BuzzFest. It was awesome. It was successful. It was packed. And then I have this ridiculous fall and I'm the guy that's getting taken away on a stretcher. Or what is it with the wheels and the stretcher? A stretcher, right?
Gurney.
A gurney. And I'm getting taken away. And there's 100 people with their cell phones. That's Rod Ryan. That's Rod Ryan. And it's like, that's not what I want. I don't want people looking at me, and
you're in pain.
I see why it's happening and I give the thumbs up and I am in pain. And so emergency room and all of that and surgery. So the event happens late Saturday. I get surgery. I get into they're splitting my knee wide open on Thursday. So cutting the knee down the middle, opening it up, sewing and all of that. So I sent you a picture because I went today for my 1 week follow up, and I didn't know what it looked like either. I saw it today for the first time. It was like meeting my new knee. It's like, oh, here's your new Franken knee. Here, I'll leave you alone to get to know each other. And I sent you the picture and. I sent it to another buddy of ours and he's like 21 staples, dude. I'm like, those got to come out next week. So that's going to stink. So just unbelievable pain, unfathomable pain. But they gave me and this was cool. This is the only thing that really saved me. I was wearing something like a fanny pack, but around my neck. And it was a softball. And there was like this little pump in there. And there was a little really skinny tube and the tube went into my leg. It went right directly into my thigh. It was ported into my leg like a catheter, but it's in my leg.
Jeez. And
he said, you got 3 days of like numbing of your leg. So, so Friday, Thursday I get it. It's the size of a softball. And then the next day it's the size of a baseball. And then I wake up on Sunday because I got down to a golf ball and I'm like, okay, oh shit, this is my last day of pain meds. Cause my leg felt pretty decent. Considering the trauma. I woke up Sunday and no more meds directly into my leg. There's pills and stuff and holy shit, dude, the pain is, at 8.5. was the worst.
Ooh.
10 is just screaming, right?
Yeah.
Like 10 is screaming, you're going out of your mind. Like you're just wounded wide open. So 8.5 for a little bit. And then I had to pull that catheter out of my thigh. Just had to pull it out. So it was about 2.5 inches in my leg.
Wait. That's the medical thing they told you when you leave. Hey, when you're done, just yank that shit out. Like that was the deal?
Yeah, I can show you the piece of paper. Yeah, you just pull it out. What are you going to do? I mean, you're not going to, you pull it out. Pretty awful. So that's it. The knee looks bad. I'm hobbling around. I'm not supposed to be on it at all. I'm running around. I went to work this morning. I think most people know Mattress Mac. Gallery Furniture, the guy that makes all those crazy bets now. So I contacted him and I said, I want to get back to work. And I used the whole Mac, I'm like you. All right. Like Mattress Mac is this probably billionaire at this point. He's got 3 furniture stores here in Houston. And he's kind of famous now, even on Barstool Sports famous. Okay. he lays down millions of dollars on big sporting events. And he ties it into a promotion with his store, spend $3,000 or more. And this one is if the Astros win the World Series, you get your money back. And, Jeremy, who I work with, he didn't even know that promotion was going on a couple of years ago. He bought a bunch of furniture and he got his money back. So, I mean, it's a real thing. So Mac's pretty famous now. I mean, ESPN talks about him and he hits a lot of blog pages. Fox News, he's been on everything. So he gave me a chair. Because I said, because that son of a bitch is he's on the floor right now. We're recording on a Wednesday at 7:30, and Mac's on the floor. He doesn't need to be, but he's at one of his stores right now. So I said, bro, my showroom is the studio. I need to be in there. And he's like, I got you, Rod. Don't worry about it. Boom. Delivered a chair, power, recliner, the whole deal. It's awesome.
So you got like the radio version of the Dave Grohl throne.
Yeah.
When he busted his leg. That's the first thing I thought about. I saw the picture this morning. I'm like, holy shit, you got like a Dave Grohl throne going so you can keep the show going.
Yeah. So it's the equivalent of that. So, I mean, my pain right now is at a 4.5, 5. I'm good. I can handle a 4.5, 5. And I'm not a tough guy on pain. I'm not cool with it. I'm not tough on it. Every one of these tattoos hurt like hell. It hurts, man. I don't like any of it. I am not tough on the pain. So 4.5, 5, I can handle that.
So when you wiped, like, how do you let's back up. Let's back up.
Everyone's laughing at me.
Oh, yeah, no, that's
just like how Rod fell.
Funny. It's funny when people fall. It's 100%. Realize they are hurt. Okay, that part sucks. So like when you talk football players, you always hear ACL, MCL. Those are like what keep the joints together, right? This is up top connecting to your knee. Is that?
Yeah, this is a tendon.
That's a big something. And did the doctor go, of all the shit for you to tear, that would be like the last thing?
Yeah, he still is completely dumbfounded on how I did it. Now he's replaced and he's done a ton of Texans players. He's done a ton of athletes. It's the same guy. It's the same place. And he said they all come back within a year and they're 100%. I said, are they out for does anybody do it and they're back that season? He said, no, it's a season-ending injury. For a football player.
You're out, bro. No, I guess so. Next year, maybe.
If I was a pro football player, it's a season-ending injury. I'm a dumb DJ. It's a week off. Well, not quite a week off injury.
So, like, what's the prognosis? You 6 weeks out of dumping crutches?
8 weeks. 8 weeks. 8 weeks. 4 weeks of like I'm not supposed to be walking on it or driving or anything like that. So, Daddy's Ubering a lot right now.
Lucky you. And then like, what's the prognosis for like say hypothetically, and I'm just throwing it out there.
Sure. Throw it out there.
You want to run a 5K, say in like November, you start, you do your rehab, you do everything properly, follow the rules. Could you be running down the road? I'm not saying you have to, but hypothetically speaking, did they say
yeah, he goes, just do your rehab. And he said, do what they tell you to do. Don't do it just in front of them. I felt like it was the dentist talking about flossing. He's like, okay, don't floss the day you come in. And then I floss you when I clean your teeth. And then the next time you floss is the day that you're, 6 months down the road. I felt the same way. I was getting talked to like that. He said, do the rehab, do the bands, do what they tell you to do. The thing about a knee is you have to do very specific things.
Right.
So April had a hip replacement, which is bigger deal than what I got going on. And that was day in, day out surgery. Before she left, she had to get in and out of a car. They have a simulated car at the hospital. You had to get in and out of the car seat. And she had to go upstairs. 1, 2, 3, 4 stairs, and then down a ramp. The day of the surgery. Okay. So they want you to walk on that sucker right away.
Right.
And it's painful, but that's the only rehab is you moving it and using it. A knee, I guess there's a lot involved with like rehabbing a knee. And he said it's going to be painful and I'm not looking forward to any of that. But he said the way that your knee is, he says the pain is going to come because you're going to become so stiff and we're going to have to just work the knee. And I'm making I look like I've got like a thigh master between my arms as I'm showing you. They're going to have to just work my knee.
Right.
And I will put in the work. I mean, I will. I'm too young to be hobbling around. I'm 52. And I'm chasing around a 4-year-old, and I can't do it on a bad knee. So super motivated to do it the right way. Not just say it, but actually go out and do the work the way that they tell me that I need what I need to do.
It's funny because you bring up the rehab thing, and like probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was running, but not like I am now. And I was running, but I went, like everybody does. I went too hard, too far, too fast. And I ended up messing up a lot of I don't know what they call the tendons in your hip. Like my muscles were growing, but it takes time for your tendons to kind of keep up with everything. They are a slower grow, I guess, or they don't get as strong as fast. Whatever the deal was, I fucked them up. So I went to rehab, and I was doing I think I did like 6 weeks, and it was just no surgery involved, but I had to like do all the bands, and I was like standing on one foot on a trampoline and throwing a ball at another trampoline and catching it, and all this core exercises and all these box jumps. And I did it for 6 weeks, and I did it religious. And they wouldn't let me run. And I was like, I got to run, man. I want to fucking run. I'm like a gazelle. I got to run. And boy, when they put me on the treadmill, they said, okay, you can run. Start real slow. And that first day, dude, it was so great. To this day, now when I'm running like crazy, I do those exercises, a lot of them to warm up. I still do those exercises. So if you can create, like we always talk about, create the habit, do the rehab, create the habit, you'll keep doing those exercises, and then you'll have the strongest damn knees in another year, like stronger than you have now.
Yeah, they'll come back. I mean, if you do it right, they'll come back 100%. I mean, this is this guy is a sports guy, and he's done this a million times for sports medicine, and people come back, and they come back to be 100%. It's just if you put in the time properly. So I had to do a little bit of that with my back years ago when I had back surgery. I had to do some things, and that's something's more, I don't know, something scary about a back, right? I mean, you say back, things happen to your legs or whatever, man, you don't want anybody cutting into your back. No. And I got really scared because, man, I wasn't 50. And it just seems like, okay, 50 years old, that's when you start getting cut open. But man, they're digging around in my back, and that was super scary to me. And I just remember telling myself, and now I could kick myself because I just said, dude, if I ever am able to walk again regularly, and if I'm able to run again, I'm never going to take this body for granted, blah, blah, blah. And then what do? You take your body for granted, Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you're figuring 6 weeks, that's some rehab. You're looking at 8 weeks. So I'm putting you down. So we're in June, July, August. So you're thinking maybe mid-August, you'll be
a dress run.
You'll be able to drop some 10s again. So you got some time off from the 10s for a while, bro. You
Thanks,
got some time off. It's okay. I'm good. We'll carry the load for you. It's all good. Damn it, dude. When you texted me over the weekend, and I was like, fuck, that don't sound good at all. Like, you texted me like that next day, like, dude, my knee's jacked. I've got to go to the doctor. And I'm like, well, I hope you're all right. It's the obvious text. And you're like, no, I'm not. I'm going to
no, I'm not all right. It's bad. Like it's bad. And, I really hadn't talked about it all that much on the air, to be honest with you. Just,
okay. All right.
I'm on the radio. Nobody gives a shit. Let's go.
Talk about Green Day. I know.
It's me. And I don't, believe it or not, I don't want to be the center of attention. Honest to God, that's the truth. So the whole thing and the derailment of everybody going to the Marriott and partying, I did not want to be the person that everybody was talking about. Like, did you see Rod? Holy shit, Rod Ryan just got taken out of here. That's not, I don't look forward to that. I mean, I know it's for bad shit, but even for good shit, I just want to hang out. That's it. I just want to hang out.
Right.
So, the whole thing, and I get it. Everybody's like, hey man, how's your leg? Hey man, how's your leg? And you're seeing people, I'm back in the office today. Hey dude, how's your leg, man? How'd that happen? It's like, I know they're being nice. So I'm not an asshole. It's like, you're nice enough to ask about it. I'm going to be nice enough to tell you what's going on, but just telling it over and over again. Okay. How it happened. It's like, shit. I don't want, it's not the kind of attention. And I know not everyone's like that. This is not the kind of attention I want. I've had people that have had casts on their legs before, and they've had things done, man, that they're ready to sit down and shoot the shit about that cast. Let me tell you how this arm happened.
Nope.
Fuck. No.
And look, this is like, and I've been wrestling with this for 2 days. Like, I'm like, because you sent me another picture and I was like, dude, that's fucking gross. Hope you're feeling better. And like, I didn't call you. I didn't really send a lot of texts because I know you deal with a lot of shit when you got that kind of injury. So I know a lot of people just want to be left alone a little bit, like just deal with it. So my initial thought was, gosh, I really should call you, see how you're doing, you know, all that shit. And then I'm like, no, I'm not gonna, because I'm dedicated to this podcast more than I am to our friendship. I'm saving it for the fucking podcast.
I'll ask him while we're rolling tape. And then at least might as well get a little something out of this discussion.
But that's the beauty of it. It's like every time, like in our business in radio, you're always like, wow, I should really check on that. But you know what? That'd be better for the air. That'd be better for the show, or that'd be better for the podcast. That's how we always are thinking, man. Even when something serious like this, I'm like, hope you're okay. Okay, let's stop talking about it. I'm going to save it for Wednesday night.
Yeah, Jason didn't say shit to me. Well, you know, we come on, he sends me an email and he says, Jason Ginty would like you to join the Zoom meeting. And I click on it. Okay. And then I get on, and then, you know, everybody's trying to be funny and say something silly because we haven't talked to each other in a bit. And then I sent him the picture of the leg and he's like, that's it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to know. Tell me later. Tell me. Wait till we start. I'm like, all right.
Save it for the show. Save it for, that's the old
fucking knee is show material for you.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? So we'll move on from the knee. I know when we did our last podcast a couple of weeks ago before the knee incident, we were talking about Top Gun, and the big conversation was going to the movies alone and seeing Top Gun. And I talked to different people afterwards, like after the podcast was done. And it was kind of a 50-50 split in my small little focus group. Like some people were like, fuck no, man, I would never go to the movies by myself. I'd look like a weirdo. I'd feel like everyone's staring at me. But then I talked to other people. They're like, yeah, who gives a shit? I'm going to the fucking movies. I'm a grown ass man. Who cares? So it's kind of a down the middle thing. It was a 50-50 deal.
I had more people responding to that. I had more people telling me, dude, get over yourself. It's not that big a deal. Just go. I mean, if I had to put a number on it, I would say it was 70-30 of people just saying, no, I don't give a shit about that, you know? And it was people that were of different ages too. I would say it was closer to 70-30, just people that went out of their way to mention it to me, like, dude, going out to eat was a different deal. Yeah. But the movies, everyone agreed that if you were going to go out and do something by yourself, going to the movies is the easiest thing, because there's no pressure at all. I mean, most of what I freak out about is I feel like I'm being looked at, and you're really never looking at other people in the theater. So that's done. But then if you're in a restaurant by yourself, I'm worried, am I staring too long at one person? What do I do with my hands? It's like Will Ferrell being interviewed in Talladega Nights. What do I do with these? I'm waiting for my food. What the fuck do you look at? You're by yourself at a table. Answer me this. You're sitting at a table for one man, lonely, at a table. Boom. You cannot answer, bring out your phone. Okay, so if you don't have your phone out, because that's the crutch, everyone's going to do that. If you're sitting there, what are you doing? Your food is 10 minutes. It's going to take 10 minutes to finish the food. What are you doing at that table, Jason?
You're not a damn thing, because what are you going to do? You're not.
But what do you look at? What do you do? I mean, that is my knee tendon being torn for 10 minutes.
Pain. That's that kind of pain.
It is. I feel like I'm on candid camera and I'm in some, what would you do ABC special, and they're just watching me. I can't handle it. I wouldn't know what to do. So the movies was determined that was by far and away the easiest thing. And even I talked about like going out to eat when I brought up Dinah. She would sit at the bar, and there would be, some natural conversation at the bar. Bartenders are used to, if you're there by yourself, they know they're going to end up talking to that person a little bit,
Absolutely. Yeah. We were talking too about like the success of Top Gun. I forget what the deal was. We were talking about how Top Gun or Tom Cruise had never had like $100 million movie.
Now,
right?
Yeah, but people are quick to jump on that. He never had a $100 million domestic opening,
Opening, that's
meaning
what it was.
U.S. numbers. And his movies have made way over that, added up. But
Tons.
opening weekend, and we talked about, what did we say? Like Will Smith had a couple of them, and there's just there's a lot of people that have had these, and of course the superhero people. But yeah, Tom never had a $100 million opening weekend in the U.S., he smoked it.
Yeah. But I thought it was weird. Like after we talked about it, I'm like, geez, even the Mission Impossible movies, those were huge. But yeah, I guess not. Somebody on the podcast, me, was saying like, we were talking numbers, and I said, oh, he's gonna bust out 120 million that first weekend. And I was so guessing. I had nothing. I just threw out 120 because it sounded cool. He did 124 that first weekend, dude. I'm in the wrong business. I got to.
Did I take the under on that?
I think you did. Yeah, you took the under.
I think I took the under, whatever number that you said. So if you said 120, so you win that. We didn't bet anything.
No, why would we? Because I'm not smart enough to bet, because I would always lose. And that's
now, why haven't you gone to see the movie? I have an excuse, obviously. Okay, Tiny Tim over here can't get out.
More porridge. You got a great Halloween costume ready to go.
That's Oliver. That's Oliver Twist.
I got my British fucking
Tiny Tim is Bob Cratchit's kid.
Oh yeah, Scrooge.
And Bob Cratchit's boss is Scrooge. Ebenezer.
Yeah. And then
why didn't you go see the movie?
I haven't. Work. Bullshit, other things in the way.
Oh, sorry. I'm a big program director now. I'm really busy. I got all these people underneath me. I'm on the air. I'm responsible for a whole staff. They gave me a couple of stations to run. Sorry, I didn't know you were the big shit in radio that has time to do nothing now.
No, actually, it had nothing to do with radio. The radio was a 9 to 5. I punch in, punch out. It's all good. No, I just haven't gone, man. I want to. My wife's like, we got to go see Top Gun. I'm like, okay. And then shit gets in the way and we forget to do it or something. It's been nice out. Like the weather's been like right in the pocket. So we've been doing just outdoor shit. And I'm like, man, that movie's going to be around for a while. I don't need to go see it right away. It's a nice day. Let's go outside and do shit.
Do you still maintain that you think you'll see it when you see it? Is it still something that you're setting aside to go back to the theaters, or?
Absolutely. Totally.
Or are you, okay, I already missed opening weekend. I missed the second weekend. I guess I'll just wait for it to be on TV.
Something like this. And I've always said it, man, these big fucking, all the superhero movies, because that's what they're for. Those are really that large screen experience. Any of the old Star Wars that come out or the new Star Wars that come out, this is definitely the big screen experience you want. I'll watch it again on TV for sure when it comes out, because I want it, because apparently it's awesome. From everything I've heard, it's really, really a good movie. So yeah, that's a theater experience. But I'm not going to go see these romantic comedies in a theater. I'm just not. I'll go see the big ones.
Well, at some point today, I wanted to shift gears. I wanted to talk about something musical. And while we were on the air today, I think it was right after 8:00, I got an email, and it talked about something that was going on with the Foo Fighters. And I did the total radio thing, dude. Because it really did happen this way. I said, wow. And I still was processing the email. It had just come in, and I happened to see it pop up, and it was Foo Fighters, and we were on the air live. And I said, wow, I just got an email from the Foo Fighters. And as I'm on the air, I'm just reading the headline. I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. Hey guys, after the break. Okay. Like I'm fucking Ryan Seacrest, don't go anywhere. You're going to find out who we're eliminating after the break. But I did that like an asshole today, because I was on the back end of my break. I was out of time, and I said, wow, guys, I promise you, sit tight. We're going to come back, and I want to tell you about this Foo Fighter email I got.
Right.
So it really was dropping at that time. And the Foo Fighters announced a couple of Taylor Hawkins tribute concerts. What time do you think you got this information today?
It was
after I said it on the air. Were you listening this morning?
Yeah, well, I had to stick around through the fucking break. I'm like, great. Houston traffic is terrible again today. And 12 spots and, all that shit. And then I finally found out, no, I got like, it hit socials pretty quick right after that. So it was.
Did it? Okay.
About the same time. And I was like, I think I was kind of shocked. I was excited, but I was shocked. Because all the conversations we've had on this podcast about what are they going to do? Are they going to continue on? Are they not going to continue on? Who's going to be the drummer? All that shit. And when this came out, I went, oh, Well, this makes a hell of a lot of sense, actually.
It really does make a lot of sense. So let me just give you the crux of what it is. Foo Fighters and the Hawkins family. It's worded very specifically. Foo Fighters and the Hawkins family present Taylor Hawkins tribute concert. And there's two of them. September 3rd, London, Wembley Stadium. And then September 27th, giving themselves a lot of time. They're going to play the Forum in Los Angeles. And they did give a date of June 17th when tickets go on sale. Now, I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but you can tell that it sounds like it's coming from the entire band. Okay. And they're talking about, they're hot, they're talking about their friend and this musician and a husband and a father and a brother and a bandmate and these tribute concerts. And they do flat out say that we're going to bring on people. And you get the feeling, Foo Fighters, they've collabed with just about everybody. But right. I'm trying to think, coming from fans as well as musicians. So they're talking about Taylor, how he idolized like a lot of musicians. And they were kind of thanking, all the memorials and all the things that people have said. So the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert will unite several of those artists, because they previously had mentioned artists that Taylor idolized. The Hawkins family and, of course, his Foo Fighter brothers in celebration of Taylor's memory and his legacy as a global rock icon. His bandmates and his inspirations playing the songs that he fell in love with and the ones he brought to life. So it sounds like it's going to be, we're going to do Foo Fighter music. We know that he loved Queen. Yep. So we're going to be at Wembley Stadium. Let's get Queen on stage with us. So then the speculation started. And, we did spend a little time with this when it first came out after the break. Hopefully everybody listened to all those commercials and goes and shops at all those stores. And then after the break, I told everybody about this. And I said, well, this is my thought, I love the fact that there's two. There's nobody that Foo Fighters, and I get it. I can understand somebody that listens to me on the radio, listens to this podcast, and they're just like, fuck Rod, this guy's always going on and on about the Foo Fighters. And number one, I guess if you just don't like them, you don't like them, and that's fine. But man, a lot of people like them, and musicians like them, and people really like Dave Grohl. And maybe that's why you don't like them, because everybody likes them. But there's not an artist out there that wouldn't come in for this thing and wouldn't do it. Could we see a Led Zeppelin, like the guys in Zeppelin, getting back together? Could we see? Because John Paul Jones the bass player was in them Crooked Vultures, and the guitar player is down for whatever. It's just, it all comes down to Jimmy Page, it comes down to Robert Plant. Right. Would he want to do something? But is this big enough? It might be.
It could be, but I know that when they played Wembley years ago, or it was the O2 Arena, either way, they were in London, and John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page came up and they did rock and roll, and Taylor Hawkins sang with the Foo Fighters. Like that was part of their thing, and it was huge. So
yep,
I think that'll happen, or could
that will happen. That 100% will happen. Elton John will happen. Paul McCartney will happen. What's the biggest band out there? What's the biggest name you can come up with? It was funny because we were talking, Alex said on the air, he's like, well, I saw Tommy Lee put something up, a while ago, and he really loved Taylor Hawkins. And I said, I understand why you brought that up, because he's a drummer, this is what I said. I go, Tommy Lee might not be big enough to get on this bill.
Yeah.
It's that level of respect from other musicians that come in for the Foo Fighters. LA, the Forum, Alanis Morissette's going to be up there. Okay. Sure. I'm calling it now. Alanis Morissette 100% will be singing. Dallas Daniels sent me that today while I was on the air. And I said, 100%, you're 100% right on that. There's a couple, the Chili Peppers will be involved somehow. They're going to pay them back for filling in for them. Who are we missing? What are they going to do? What level do you see this getting to? I said Queen and Led Zeppelin, and
that's kind of, there you go.
And the living Beatles. Yeah. What's bigger? You know, I mean, I don't know if there was any connection to the Pink Floyd guys. You know, I mean, what's bigger?
I don't think you get bigger than, you know, the Zeppelin thing and the Queen thing. But I think what's interesting, and I was thinking about it today a little bit. I think when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, cool. The Foo Fighters are going to play, and who's going to play drums? And then the more I read it, I'm like, oh, this isn't a Foo Fighters thing at all. They're going to be there. They're going to play. They're going to be kind of the house band, you know, but they're going to take the focus off of who's going to be the drummer in the Foo Fighters. And they're going to push it out to everyone else kind of just picking up instruments. And it's going to be a jam, like an ongoing jam. And, you know, does Roger Taylor come in and bang the drums on a song? You know what I mean? Like, holy fuck, that would be cool. Like, all this is going to be very cool. That's why they're doing probably London and then LA. Because, you know, London, you're going to get all your Elton Johns and your Paul McCartneys, and you're going to get, you know, the Oasis dude that you talk to. You're going to get all those influences over there. So they can handle that over there. And then LA is going to be a fucking firestorm, man. It's going to be, I mean, everybody. It's going to be everybody.
I hadn't even thought about an Oasis reunion. Do they use this to bridge the brothers to come back together? Because Taylor would have loved it. Taylor used to beat them up. That's huge. That's huge. It's not as big as Zeppelin, but that is huge. If they were looking for some time to do something, to get those two brothers on stage as a tribute to Taylor, holy shit. Taylor Hawkins loved Oasis, and so does Dave. So
think about it this way. Think about it this way, and you're on the right path, I think. I think this is pretty great. Is, you know what? Look, and if there's ever been a reason to bury the hatchet, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're fighting. We're brothers. We hate each other. We rub each other the wrong way. We've got our issues, but Taylor Hawkins is fucking dead. Okay. Your little squabbles really don't mean shit. Okay. Because there's dead or your squabbles. So how about we just work together on some things, talk it out a little bit. If there's ever been a spark to light that candle, this would be the one thing I think. That's
assuming that these guys are already 2 steps ahead of us and they've got it on the calendar for 2025, what they're going to do. You know, right. I don't know. Right. It doesn't seem like they have something like that. Do they? I don't think you can do something that takes away from Taylor. You would think, okay, no. This is for Taylor. Don't grandstand. No, Taylor would love for Oasis to get back together. You know, it's not like you're asking somebody to marry you at a wedding. That's the worst thing you could ever do. You don't get engaged at somebody's wedding. The focus is on that couple. I don't look at it like this at all. And it's not just because I want Oasis to get back together, but what an amazing thing. Taylor would have loved the shit out of Oasis getting back together. And if they use that as the platform, I don't think it overshadows the day or anything.
No, you could actually do it, come up, do a song, walk away. The whole place goes ape shit. And then a week later you go, hey, you know what? That worked out pretty good. And because Taylor was Taylor, you know what? Let's give this a rip and see how many shows we can pull off together without killing each other. You know what I mean? That would be very, very cool. The one thing that I still, even after Taylor passed away, it's all I was digging into. And you kept learning about how every musician on the planet loved the guy. And it seemed like every musician on the planet was calling him, and they were having conversations, and they were texting all the time. Like, it seemed like I just saw a thing, Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue was like, he reposted the Foo Fighters tribute shows. And he's like, man, I really miss talking to Taylor. I miss our phone calls. I miss our action. I'm like, thinking about it today. I'm like, Taylor Hawkins knew every human being on earth and had conversations with him. When did he have time to play the drums? He was always talking to people.
I knew that he loved Jane's Addiction, but it wasn't until Perry Farrell just beautifully just sat in front of the phone and recorded a video. And he just talked about like how Taylor was like family to him. And, you know, Taylor famously had mentioned Jane's Addiction in his acceptance speech for the Hall of Fame. So I should have known that they were super pals, but I just assumed that he just loved that band from afar. And he said that they were like family. So that LA concert, I think they're both going to be two of the biggest things in rock that we've seen in a long, long time. You can't help but to go back and look at what they did for Chris Cornell. You know, Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins. It's Taylor Hawkins and the Foo Fighters and Chris Cornell and Soundgarden. Taylor, it's bigger. Okay. It's a bigger thing, believe it or not. And that thing, everybody seemingly showed up for that. Right. I mean, there was no big reunions or anything, but I remember asking Vicky Cornell when I had her on a couple times, I'm like, are we going to see this thing? Because there's pro shot video out there of this. So, and it never came out. And I don't know if you can't get everybody to sign off on that. I have no idea, if they just didn't get all their ducks in a row before they asked everybody to come out there. Miley Cyrus, believe it or not, her people have to sign off on that. If you're going to put out a DVD or if you're going to put out a live stream and somebody's going to be making some money somewhere, unless it's all going to charity, I think everybody still has to sign off on it. And I don't know if they just did it properly for Chris, but they didn't need to. I'm just selfishly talking about, think of us that can't go to the shows or aren't going to be there. I don't see the Foo Fighters squandering this opportunity. And I don't think it's piggish to put these things on, put a paywall up and for us to watch these things online.
Streaming it live would be great. I'd pay for that. The second I saw this morning, I started looking at I looked at my wife and I go, if we get tickets, man, this would be worth spending a shit ton of money on. This is one of those once in a lifetime events where you're like, I could see spending a fuckload of money. And I would try to get tickets for London or LA. Who gives a shit? I'll figure, I'll row a boat across the Atlantic Ocean, whatever. It's one of those once in a lifetime moments. And then I'm like, yeah, I could spend that money on something else though. And I'll just watch the live stream from my house. So I can't wait because the next couple of weeks, they're going to start unleashing who's going to be there, who's going to do what. And I talked
It's going to be last minute things. I mean, these are going to be, these are going to be outrageous, people and who they say no to, who are they going to say no to? That's why, I told Alex, I said, yeah, it's not going to be just a bunch of drummers going up there and filling in and playing Foo Fighter songs. Then you would have Tommy Lee. They're getting the biggest names in music for this thing. And I will pay money, and I don't care if it goes to some sort of a fund, if it goes to some sort of a charity, something that Taylor was into, if it goes to his family, I'm sure they're fine. Taylor was rich,
right?
But I don't, there's nothing, again, there is nothing that makes me think differently if they charge us to watch this. They should. Well, they should. And I think it should be an event.
They're charging tickets to get in the place. I know you got to pay for the roadies in the stadium and all that shit. Yep. But then on the other side of the coin, people are like, well, it's a memorial, it's a tribute, it's deaths involved. And that feels a little greedy in a way. I like the Cornell thing. I'm like, I can see why you kind of go, yeah, you know what? That just feels weird.
It's not his funeral. It's not his funeral.
It's true.
And you're getting all these people. It's a once in a lifetime event. And I understand if you're just at nausea, if you're nauseated by all things Foo Fighters, I just think this thing's going to outdo things that we've seen in a long, long time. This should have happened for your boy, Eddie Van Halen. And if that family wasn't, if their last name wasn't Van Halen, then they would have done something like this, And of course, everything's got to be fucking weird with them. Everything's got to be weird. At the end of the day, they don't owe us anything, but I just come to you as a fan. And there was this weird story that came out a couple of weeks ago. Jason Newsted said that there was going to maybe be some sort of a tribute, and they were getting, I don't know, guitar play.
Joe Satriani. It
was weird, dude. It was weird. Come on. Get your shit together. You're fucking Van Halen's. Your last name's Van Halen. I don't understand where there's not just a little bit of, hey, we have a lot of fans out here. They don't feel like they owe anybody anything. And maybe that you go to sleep at night and it's no big deal, but don't you owe your fans something?
That always felt weird. I don't know if it's timing because Wolfgang had his album coming out right then around the time of the death of his dad. And he's like, he wanted to run through that cycle of the album. And, that was probably a little too raw for him to put together something like that, I would imagine. So I don't know. That whole thing's weird. And at this point, I'm like, okay, whatever. If they do something, great. If they don't, it's fine with me too at this point. But the Foo Fighters thing is going to be so, it's just going to be nuts, dude. It's going to be nuts. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you're watching an empty screen where Rod sits. Why? Because he got up. He's not supposed to be walking around. He's not supposed to be walking around.
Well, I'm not
I got video proof. I got video, and you're not even using your busted ass crutches. You're walking around like an ass. You got 22 staples in your knee. Oh, all strapped up. Jesus, Iron Man.
My foot is the size of a grapefruit, so I got to elevate it. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Don't be sorry. It's your fucking foot. Do what you got to do. The podcast can wait, man. Holy shit. So yeah, the Foo Fighters thing, dude, when I saw the LA date, I was like, whoa, that'd be worth a shout out to LA for sure, man.
September 27th. I mean,
car.
At this point, is it silly to try to go on there and get tickets? I mean, I think if you really have hopes and dreams of going to this thing, you just got to bow down to the almighty second market. Yeah. Give into the scalper and pay the freight and do all that. There was a guy that listens to the show here in Houston, and he did go. He was in the forum, and he was and he just got tickets. He just was a super fan and got tickets for the Chris Cornell special. Wow. And he said it was amazing. And I just, I'm like, I hate you. I love you, but I hate you for being at that thing because I haven't seen the whole thing. And there were just such amazing moments from that thing. And I think this is going to happen again.
Yeah, definitely.
I really think these things are going to be unbelievable. Do they wait? Do they let these shows play out? Think about this: Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, HBO. 30 days later, let's get the condensed version down, and then boom, here is the best of the 2 nights, the Taylor Hawkins tribute.
That'd be great. I mean,
and then does that become an event? I mean, I always want to say, then do they put out a DVD? Nobody wants that. Do they put that out where you can, can stream it? Dave's in that space with his movie and stuff. So I see that happening at bare minimum.
Yeah.
And then here's me just counting on seeing all this stuff. There's no way they do this and we don't see it, right? The people that aren't in the stadiums, there's just no way.
You know what? No cell phones allowed, no video cameras, and we're just going to do this in the raw, and anyone who's not here is never going to hear anything but just spoken word about it. I mean, that could be it too. I doubt it, but that could be the way they do it. I don't know.
Why Wembley Stadium?
It's pretty big.
Okay. Yeah. And the Foo Fighters can sell it out. They have. But why the Forum, which is an arena for the New Orleans audience? That's where the Pelicans play. For the Houston audience, that's the Rockets. The Forum,
it's small.
That's what size that is. The Forum. I've been there. You've been there. That's where you saw Motley Crue, isn't it?
Yeah. It was a great stadium, but it's a great arena. See, I didn't even pay attention.
It's a 17,000er. So
pay attention. I figured they were playing like, where the Dodgers play or some shit out there, but that's not the case. The Rams stadium would be the place, but you know what? It's September already. Football season's on. There's no way you can flip that place. Wow.
I get it why you want to play in Los Angeles, just access to all the people, but that's a small show for being such a huge event where the stadium makes sense in the UK.
Right.
The stadium would have made sense here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I assumed it was. I didn't even pay attention. I always thought it was in Los Angeles. I didn't pay attention to the venue at all. Wow.
No, it's the Forum. Oh. It's the Forum, which any band would be happy to play there. It's a big room. Right. But that's what the Imagine Dragons play. The Imagine Dragons play there. My Chemical Romance. What did we say? They were doing 4 or 5 shows there, right? More than that, maybe.
Right. Right.
I don't know. What else with the show that we haven't already said? Is it, and I guess this is the last thing then. This is the last piece. Is there any chance this is one last take a look at Nate, take a look at Pat Smear, have a look at us all hanging out, and is this their goodbye? I don't see them saying that, making an announcement or anything like that, but do they know? Let's go out and play some songs and have one last good time together. Is it a goodbye? Is it a goodbye concert? Jason Ginty.
You know what? It's so funny because, like, my son, he's almost 14. He's into music. He loves the Foo Fighters. He's still crushed because we were going to go see him at Jazz Fest. You were coming in that weekend and stuff. And he was so bummed that he didn't get to see him, obviously, as so many other people are. And I asked him this. I told him about the post and the two shows, and they were tribute concerts. And he goes, oh, that's going to be it. My 14-year-old son goes, yeah, that's going to be it. They're done.
Really?
He just says it straight. He doesn't know anything. He just goes, oh, that's going to be it then, huh? He goes, that's going to be it. That's how they're going out. And I'm like, who are you, first of all? Stop saying shit like that. You're starting to piss me off. You know what I mean? Like, but he just called it straight out. Now, whether he's right or wrong, we'll find out. But
what do you think?
God, you know what? As a fan, selfishly, man, I wish they'd find somebody who could play the drums and go out because I want to see him again. But it won't be the same without Taylor. It just won't. It's not like just throwing in the drummer. You know what I mean? It's a different. He brought so much to that band. If they went out like that, I'd be like, that's a hell of a way to do it. That's a heck of a great way to do it. I'd be okay with it. I would.
I think it is nothing about this changed my mind of what I had previously said, thinking that the Foo Fighters are done. And then when I looked at this, I'm just looking for something. I'm trying to, and this is all, everybody's guessing, looking at tea leaves. But as I'm thinking of how it's all going to play out, I'm like, man, are they going to realize how much they enjoy each other? And to me, it more and more sounded like a final, the last waltz. Yeah, so to speak.
Well, think about it. You talked about it. I talked about it. It's like, they've done it all. What else are you going to do at this point? You made that stupid movie at this point. You're just doing anything you want to do that sticks to the wall at this point. You've covered the Bee Gees. You're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You could walk away and nobody be like, oh, okay, you did it. You did all of it. You did more than most in rock and roll. You covered the gamut. Dave, you're in twice in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You're in twice. You go out and do whatever else you want to do now. Start another chapter. He's done it before, successfully, obviously. Yeah, I selfishly, I would hate to see it happen, but I totally would get it. I totally would get it.
These are Foo Fighter goodbye shows.
We're gonna find out. I know, dude.
And it's not just my knee. I'm crying because that's it for the Foo Fighters, which is making me want to be in Los Angeles September 27th even more.
You know what? I'm going to get online and I'm going to give it a rip, but I'm not going to get the tickets, but I'm going to give it a rip and see what happens. If I get them, I'm going. Hell yeah, I'm going. If I don't get them, I'll just be like, damn it. I got to find another way to get them because I know I'm going to start getting obsessed.
Next Friday is when tickets will go on sale. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know how people do it, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Right. Yeah, no, it's just, the whole thing's just sad. It's just sad. And and I was going to bring this up because I don't want to talk about death anymore because that just sucks. But the, as we were talking earlier about all these people coming out and Taylor would have loved it. How many times have you been to a funeral and you always hear somebody go, man, XYZ person would have loved seeing all these people. Like you always hear that. Oh, he would have loved this or she would have loved this. You're like, that's why when you're alive, you got to try and do these things, man. You got to figure it out. That's the shit of it all, man. It's like you're all there. All the person's friends and loved ones and family are there. Hey, that'd have been cool to do before this happened.
Weddings and funerals. Yeah. Weddings and funerals. That's when everybody gets together.
That's it, man.
And do it while you're alive. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to go down that road of being Bummersville, but it's just like, he would have loved seeing Oasis if that happens or all this shit. And it's like, yeah, well, and granted, he got to do a lot of cool shit. He's a damn rock star, True. So I suppose he didn't really miss out on a whole lot of cool shit as he was doing all this stuff. So
are we going to talk summer vacation coming up?
Dude, summer vacation. I got into the conversation with my boy the other day. He just finished up with school. And, it's like, oh, well, he's at that weird age where a lot of camps for kids are for younger kids. So he's enrolled into a couple little different things or like projects and stuff, but that's it. And I'm like, I was thinking about it. I'm like, bro, when I was your age, you know what my camp was? Go out in the backyard and try not to injure yourself.
Right.
That was summer camp. So I wanted to talk a little bit about summer camp and
All right.
you used to do back in the day. But we'll talk about that after the break.
Yeah, we're going to hear from our listen to this podcast. We still only have one sponsor. Unbelievable. If you would like to sponsor this podcast, the rates are cheap. It's very cheap. It's some are saying that it's maybe the bargain on the podcast sphere, maybe the best untapped resource to advertise your widget. But what we do have is we've got our good old solid Pirates of the Quarter who have been in since week 1. We're on podcast 53. They've been on board for every single one of our podcasts. So when you go to New Orleans, you should know you need to book the Pirates of the Quarter. Piratesofthequarter.com is the website. They've got all the socials at Pirates of the Quarter. There's no other tour like it in the great city of New Orleans. You grab a drink, you're walking the streets of the Quarter, and you're hearing from pirates incredible stories of the things that happened where you're walking and in the French Quarter. The French Quarter is so much more than just Bourbon Street. And these pirates, they know their stuff. They know their history. These are factual things that really happened. I don't like to I don't like to go against other tours and whatnot, but these guys are telling you things on how New Orleans became New Orleans. Okay. So you're going to be surprised. You're going to learn. You're going to have a good time the whole time you're there. So there's more to New Orleans than just Bourbon Street. Save a little time. Discover Pirates history in New Orleans. Details at piratesofthequarter.com and at Pirates of the Quarter. These guys are really, really good. Good follow on social. And I'm waiting for that Pirates of the Quarter TikTok. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I'll talk to the guys, see if they can get that done. It's the summertime, so there's a little more
time. Those guys
time.
will be fire.
It's a little more time on a lot of people's hands with, if you notice when you drive you drive at 3:00 in the morning. So for the average person listening to this podcast, a lot of times once school's out, traffic patterns will change and that morning commute might not be so brutal because the school zone should be gone now. So it's not so bad. Summertime is always cool, man. And when I was in school, like every kid on earth, dude, that last day, man, it was Alice Cooper's School Out in my head every time. And it's like, boom, summertime, not getting up early. I'm wearing my play pants every single day. I'm not putting good shit on.
Every day, play pants.
You don't even go to the school drawer. You go right to the play pants drawer, and that's what you're wearing all summer long. And your buddies are knocking on your door 7:30 in the morning. Hey, Ginty, come out and play. Jason, you coming out? Yeah. And you're on bikes and you're on skateboards. And we were talking the other night at the dinner table about, like, my son goes to a couple different, he's doing like some music camp right now. He's got a little soccer camp coming up, but he's got some things. And a lot of kids will have camps throughout the summer. And I was like, bitch, my camp was go outside and try not to blow your fingers off or break a bone. That was my summer camp. It was go outside. There were no camps for us back then. And I got to thinking, I'm like, my kid's learning all this cool shit in the summer. He's doing all these skills. There's people that do like sleepaway camps and they learn to hunt and fish, or they're building fires, or the Boy Scouts or whatever. Dude, I was just building shit in my garage all summer long, dude. That you had time. And with that time, you found shit to do. That's where you learned skills, probably not the right way. Like you there was no video games other than like Atari. And after a while that got boring. So you went outside and you learned to build shit. You build bikes, you build ramps, you're jumping ramps, you're doing all that cool shit. You're building forts. We
had to be outside.
Yeah.
Otherwise, and we were never, you couldn't say I'm bored.
Dude.
You were, it just, you weren't allowed to say it.
Mm-mm.
If my mom caught wind of you saying that you were bored, it's like, I'll give you some stuff to do. And, it was always, room was dirty. There was always chores. There were things that needed to be done around the house. So you couldn't say that. And you didn't even want to really be in the eyesight of my mom because she'd come up with shit for you to do. So you wanted to stay away from her as long as possible. So you were just living on the streets all day. And I don't really, I remember getting up in the morning and eating breakfast. I don't remember many lunches. And I just remember coming home and eating dinner and then going back outside for a little while longer. But we were gone. And I know it's just, it's a different time. and you've got kids, I have a little one, and no, they couldn't do that today, but you were just out of the house. Your parents didn't necessarily know. They probably had some parameters. Don't go off the street.
Right.
Don't leave the street. And I guess that was it. I mean, we had some railroad tracks. They knew we played in the fields, what you would call the woods. So they knew we were out there playing, but we weren't allowed to go to the railroad tracks. That was a huge thing, like stay away from the railroad tracks. And then, my mom sees all of these pennies and quarters and nickels and dimes that I had placed on the tracks that the train went over. And she's like, well, how'd you get these? I'm like, the big kid, they gave them to me. She didn't believe me. She didn't believe me. But you're right. You just played outside all the time. For a couple of years, we had a pool. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, our swimming pool, an 18-foot round. I don't remember it ever looking new. It was just always rusty.
Yep.
I question if it was ever new. I don't know if my dad got it used. I don't remember that sucker ever being brand new. But we had a pool for, 4 or 5 years. And those are those salad years, though, when you're a kid, man. Like, I'm 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that range. And I've got a swimming pool. And our liner was a little bit darker. So that meant our water was just a little bit warmer.
Yep.
And there was kids, they would always come to our house and they would be in the pool. And my mom, I've told the story. She's kicking kids out. You got a pool. Why are you in your own pool? Why are you in our pool? And then there was those kids that didn't have a pool. They'd always kind of want to hang out with you during the summertime. And, they were just kind of sponging off you for your pool.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just always kids in the pool with absolutely zero adult supervision.
You don't need it. You don't need it. You turned out fine.
I didn't even come home. I mean, there was, how we are, we're so smart about staying hydrated now. I mean, if I had a cup of Kool-Aid all day, that was it. We drank from the water hose. You didn't want to go home. You drank from the damn water hose.
No, you piss behind the garage. You drink out of the hose. Going into a house was it was like poison. You never even want to go. Even if it was your buddy's house, you're like, nah, I'm not going in there. Nah, adults. I'm staying away from adults all the time.
But I don't remember parents oh gosh, you kids, come on over here. I mean, this little guy, Emmett, I've been doing some skateboarding at the house and London, and these kids are playing. I'm like, guys, you want some water? When's the last time you had some water?
Oh.
I don't remember one parent ever questioning my hydration. In the 70s, there was little care about hydration.
No, if you were thirsty, you drank. And man, I tell you what, it was always funny because you'd be playing football or whatever in the yard. And then somebody would figure it out. They'd get thirsty and someone would walk over to the hose and, take the nozzle off. So it's just you can't drink. You got to drink out of the raw hose. If you're squeezing a nozzle, that's no good. You want that raw hose and it's just a fountain and you got to let it run for a second to get that rubber taste out of there. You want the good lead taste. You don't want just the rubber taste. You know what I mean?
But you had to let it run through the hose because it's summertime and that water that's sitting in the hose is hot. So you got to let it run until the water cools off. The water was pretty cold though out of there.
Sure.
The water was pretty fucking refreshing out of that hose. And Lord knows. Now, I've shopped for hoses as an adult. And there are hoses that are certified they're drinkable, meaning if you fill up your dog bowls and things, they mention that with hoses now.
No, dude, there was one hose.
There was one hose.
There's a green hose. There was one
green hose. It was green. It had some lines on it, some lighter green lines on it.
Yeah, that's what you drank out of all summer. And it was so funny because somebody
fucking would get rusted. The screw top was rusted, so that water was running off of a nice hunk of rusted metal into your mouth.
Absolutely. And then then everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, I'm thirsty too." So you'd stand around, right, and you're all taking a swig out of the hose, and you're like, "Oh, that's so great." It's like, yeah, we should have hydrated a lot more back then. Now you can't send your kid outside without a water bottle and a backpack with treats, and it's like. And it's so funny because everyone has that whole kids today are pussies. It kind of sound like a get off of your lawn guy, but maybe they are. I mean, I drink out of a hose. If I'm outside today, if I'm outside this weekend at my house and I'm doing shit, I can come in. I got plenty of water in my house. If I got the thing in my hand, I will take a little hit off that hose today. I
don't mess with that hose. I do not mess with the hose. It's because I know, I think I bought the hoses that are like certified to be able to drink out of them, but I still don't monkey around with that hose water. That was like, okay, I had way too much of it when I was young.
Maybe that's a problem, right?
Way too much of it when I was young. Now, you mentioned that we didn't go to camps. I did go one time. I don't remember being asked if I would like to go. I remember being told that I was going to camp, and it was going to be the first time I was going to stay away from home for a couple of days. And it was called the Niagara County Health Camp.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
And it must have been for low-income families. So there's no way my parents paid. Right. So I know that, number one, there was no money out of my mom's pocket. For sure, we hit some kind of a number where it's like, oh, okay, you have this free. Picked up by a bus. And it was the first time that there were kids that you interacted with kids from other schools.
Whoa.
I mean,
yeah.
Like we called it junior high when kids go to middle school, because the whole time you're in grade school, you're running with that same wolf pack. And then you go to middle school and then, whoa, what's going on here? This was a little like that. It was my first taste of that, where there were just kids from other schools. And I remember the only built-in guy was this other guy that probably his parents didn't have any money. And he was there. And I was kind of forced to hang with him because like we went to school together. So you start hanging with him as long as you got like somebody that you can sit down and, eat with. And then you start like motioning around, and then you start like mobilizing, and you start getting with other people from other schools. And you start to realize like, wow, kids are like wilder in other schools. Like I remember like that was the first time there was a fight like that. And the kid got punched in the face, and I was more of like we were like arm punching fights at my school. And then when I saw a kid get punched in the face for the first time, I was like, holy fuck, where are these kids from the Bronx? What's going on here? Where did my mom send me? Thunderdome? But it was
get in there, boy.
But I want to say it was 9 days. And I was away from my home for 9 days, got to call home every day. I got a disciplinary call, meaning that I wasn't listening. I was being a smart ass. So I got that. And there was Parents' Day. And I remember my dad, I'm sure, had to work. My mom came and Sue and my bro. So there was there was a family day. And I remember being really weird, them leaving and then leaving me there for another couple days. But it was wild, dude. There was a talent show. We did arts and crafts. I got on some pony and the pony took off on me. I hadn't thought about any of this, dude, in 40 years. It's all flooding. I haven't thought about any of this in 40 years. But I think I feel like I was on a horse and the horse took off. It smelled my fear. And horses from this day on, I cannot believe you're like a therapist and you're opening me up, Jason. And
sit down. Oh, you are.
I think my fear, because I'm not that jacked about being around mules and horses. It's not my thing. I'm not into it. I don't want to ride a horse. I'm just not into it. And I think I had an episode at this camp. Shit. I now know why I don't like horses that much.
See, I'm glad I could help, dude. Wow,
it took off, but that was the only time I went to camp. Everything else was just summer, hanging out, doing that sort of thing.
But see, I remember watching like movies like Meatballs, or there was a couple other ones that had summer camps. And those movies always looked so freaking cool because you had the lake, and then like the girls were always across the lake, and you could canoe over and hang out with them at night. And they were always doing cool shit and all these activities. It sounded kind of like what you described, but it sounded way cooler in the movie version. And I was like, I never went to camp like that. Did those even exist? Like, it sounds like what you did is similar to that, like a Meatballs.
Dude, it was kind of like Meatballs. Holy shit. I totally forgot I went to this camp, dude. For years, I mean, because I was going to come in with the old Bible school. My mom, because it was free, again, If you've heard me ever on the radio for any number of years, you've heard the stories, and they're all 100% true. Fucking hippies picking me up in a bus and taking me to religious, like, day camps, like Bible school. Like Bible school. My mom didn't even care what religion. I'm like, Mom, we're not even this religion. Okay. My mom never scoped out where they were taking us. I got David Koresh picking me up in a Partridge Family bus. My mom never once checked in on these things, didn't know what we were doing, nothing. But the camp thing, the overnight thing, I 100% forgot it. Coming home, there was a party, there was a welcome home Rod thing.
Whoa.
Holy shit.
That's cool, man.
I cannot believe I've unearthed this whole thing. Yeah, dude, like meatballs. Meatballs. Really low rent. I don't remember there being like lakes and water and canoeing. I don't remember any of that. I don't know what the fuck we did all day. Camped.
They probably have activities you were doing, shit, taking hikes in the woods. You're not going to remember that kind of shit unless it's traumatic. You know what I mean? Like, I did the Vacation Bible School one year for like a week or two. And it was the same kind of idea. And it wasn't even a church that we normally went to occasionally. It was some other shipped away to a different church.
Yeah, we went to these Baptists. We went to like Holy Rollers, dude.
And that sucked. And like, I was never into the religion side of things very much. And I'm like, and all these kids at these Vacation Bible schools, they were into it. They're singing all the religious songs. They're getting into it. We're doing a religious
Some kids were fired up for Jesus. And I always found it weird when young people are fired up about Jesus. I just never was. I mean, he seems like a great guy, but to be that young and to be fired up for Jesus, it was weird. It was weird to me. This was definitely Waco, Texas cult-like. Okay.
Yes.
It was definitely David Koresh picking me up in this bus, but longer hair.
I remember being absolutely miserable at vacation, like miserable to the point of like, I just can't be here anymore. Like I was plotting.
But do you remember the people that were like overseeing it? Mine were hippies. They were like,
I don't remember much,
they were leftover hippies because it was the 70s. If I'm in Bible camp, and I don't remember how Sue got out of this. I was always with dumb Randy. And we're always at Bible camp, couple years, man, of going to this stuff. I don't know if she had other things that somehow she got out of it. But I remember my brother and I getting picked up. The bus would come and a shitty old broke down bus that was probably given to them. And then somebody in the parish knew how to fix it up, that type of deal. Creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah. No, I didn't like the Vacation Bible School stuff. Like that was just brutal. I don't think I took the bus. I think my parents dropped me off, but I remember just being this weird church, like outside of town. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not the one we go to. I don't know any of these kids. And when you're a kid and you don't know anybody, that just sucks. That just blows. Cause then you're like uncomfortable. And then especially if you go into a place where some of the other kids know each other, then you're immediately going to be ganged up on. And I remember it just being just brutal.
I remember, Michael, row your boat ashore. Hallelujah. Michael, row your boat ashore. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I think every one of the songs had a hallelujah in it somewhere.
Holy shit. I don't remember. I just remembered that song.
See,
I mean, everybody knows Kumbaya, but I remember Michael, row your boat ashore. Hallelujah.
Interesting.
Lots of singing, always a guy, again, fucking David Koresh with a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
And crafts. It seems like we were always making some weird crafty shit. And I don't know what, like crosses and stuff. And it was always weird.
Dude, cat's eyes, crosses. Okay, listen to me.
What?
Okay, guys, we're going to go out in the woods. Everyone's going to get 2 sticks. Okay. And then you got 2 sticks and you made a cross out of it. And then there was all this different color yarn. And you just started going in and out like a maypole. Yeah, in and out of the cross. And then you would switch up the color and you would just build it out. And then you had this yarn crossy thing that you took home and you say, Mom, look what these crazies had me make today. Check it out.
Hey, Mom, look what I made. I made a mini version of what they killed Jesus on.
Yeah.
Cool. How awesome
Yeah.
is this, right? Yeah.
I think they called it a cat's eye or something like that. And then we made pot holders. So we made pot holders. Now work with me here. It's a square. It's a square. Okay. And it's got things on the end where you would take these elastic rubber bands, but they were thick and they were kind of like synthetic. So they were
clothy material,
like a polyester. Yep. Okay. And it was stretchy. So you would stretch it across the square, and then you would turn it over, and then you would weave in and out, and you would put them on the other side. And then one of the grownups would come and help you sew the corners. And then boom, we would make fucking pot holders at Bible school.
I had a house. You know what? You could use a different pot holder for every dinner you ever cooked. Because
you know what I'm talking about then? You made these.
Absolutely. Made hundreds of them. In fact, I would go get one of those right now on eBay because that would be cool to do.
I bet you my mom has some in that warming tray that nothing has ever warmed in it. That was always where the tools were. That was always where any shit was. Underneath that stove, I'm telling you, there is a Vacation Bible School pot holder that I made. I promise you there's one in there.
No, I think everybody made those things, and you just sit there and you made them all the fucking time too, man. Yeah, me and my brother, we made a shit ton of those pot holders. I remember making those all the time. Yeah. And they were kind of actually very therapeutic to make and fun in a weird, and you could pick the colors. You could put all kinds of different colors.
There was just a huge bag of these, they were like rubber bands.
Right.
And there was just a huge thing of them, and you could make different colors. And I just remember making a shit ton of those crosses and a shit ton of pot holders, and then singing songs. And that's about it. Maybe all the terrible stuff I blacked out that happened to us, I don't remember.
I can't believe we spent this much time talking about Vacation Bible School. Very traumatic experience, apparently.
But you're talking to somebody that really doesn't necessarily believe in therapy. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, I don't shit on you if you go to it, and I probably need it. But in talking about this stuff and then having these memories pop out, I hadn't thought about this stuff in forever. I've told the Bible school story forever. But I forgot that I went to camp one year, because you just said when you started the segment talking about, no, we used to just play outside, and now kids go to camp. I mean, London's starting something tomorrow. Right. First time, and she's excited and doesn't seem to be nervous. You know, she's 4. And I said, "Are you nervous at all?" She's like, "No." She's excited to go and play and
make some pot holders.
New people. It doesn't freak her out at all. She's not like me at all in that respect. Right. I remember panicking. You know, what if I don't know anybody?
The worst.
But when you said, it was different. You're right. We played outside all the time, except for the Bible school. And then I completely blocked out the fact that I went away, and it was the first time that I was away from home.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the only thing they issued you had to bring your own stuff. It was, the standard order gym shorts that we wore when we were kids, t-shirt. For some reason, they supplied the socks. So I remember them, and these are the socks that you fucking cranked all the way up to your knee.
Yeah,
I mean, the 70s. Higher, the better. If they came up to your knee, fucking cool. If you could find a pair, and I was always a little bit taller than everyone my age. If you could find a pair that fucking went like on your knee or even over, even better. Like you just cranked those fucking socks as high as they would go. And I remember them issuing socks. That was a part of the deal. Like, don't worry about the socks. We supply the socks here.
That's weird.
At the Niagara County Health Camp. Sure. And then, you're in line, and it was a little like the movie Stripes when they're getting issued all their stuff. It's like, pretty sweet. People are paying top dollar for this in New York. They're getting their underwear. They're getting all their shit. I remember being in line and being issued my socks. They supplied socks, Jason. Why?
Holy shit. Oh my God.
I don't think they gave us underwear, but they gave us socks.
That's so weird, man.
And they were, and they were white socks, and they always had like 2 or 3
3
colored stripes.
They're the
So
best.
I just remember, they ask you, what's your favorite team? And I'm like, the Bills. And I got the blue ones. And the blue socks.
So then, okay. So summer camp, and I remember in the summertime, you'd always, they where we grew up in Western New York, they had the Erie County Fair. I know they had like a Niagara County Fair where they bring in the carnies and the shitty, rickety old Ferris wheel and those weird spinning rides. And every summer that shit would go down. And like
Joey Chitwood. We would never pay extra for that, but that was like the Chitwoods was like a thrill show.
Okay.
Not so much Evel Knievel, but it was the cars riding on 2 wheels. And you couldn't even see over, like they would block it off, but there was a track where the Erie County Fair was, and it cost extra. And we never went to go see the Chitwood Auto Thrill Show. But yeah, the guy in the motorcycle, just like those old evil things where they'd go through and you'd ride through fire and stuff. Yeah. You don't remember that? The Joey Chitwood show?
We didn't get up to the old Erie County Fair back in the day. We went to the Niagara County Fair, which is like I
don't remember going to that one. I lived in Niagara County with you. And I don't even remember where that was. We went to the Erie County Fair. We called it the Hamburg Fair.
Right.
Because it was in Hamburg, New York. So I think street name was Hamburg Fair. And then full circle, when Jason and I finally get into radio, I had to broadcast live from there.
Yeah,
I'm like, I grew up going to this thing when I was a little kid, being forced with my parents, and now I'm broadcasting from here.
Right.
But that was always a big event. So not a lot of money. I've pretty much come across. I've pretty much made that point. But there was always a trip to the Erie County Fair. We would go up to Canada. There was a place called Crystal Beach.
Yeah.
And there also was like an amusement park,
Maple Leaf Village,
some janky roller coasters and stuff. Maple Leaf Village you get a couple of trips to Maple Leaf Village. That was right over the bridge in Niagara Falls. There was the super ghetto Fantasy Island was on Fantasy Island was on Grand Island, which is an island on just outside of North Tonawanda. You have to go over the bridge and you go to this place and you'd park your car and there would be the rides. And it was a little, it was a rink dink amusement park, with just death traps, probably duct taped together.
But did you?
And we went every year. So those are the things that we would hit. So my parents, they tried, we would do a couple of things.
We had and I don't know if because your dad worked at the Chevy plant, right? Or Harrison's or
Harrison Radiator, which is where you're from in Lockport.
Right. So I don't know. And I think they would do it as like once a year, there'd be the big company picnic. And my mom worked at Fisher Price making toys.
Yeah.
And, where I grew up, everybody knew someone who worked at Harrison's, right? So they're all going to Darien Lake, which was the cool amusement park up north, right? And every city has your amusement parks. So that was always, everyone's going, the whole fucking neighborhood would be going to Darien Lake. All my friends, cousins, all going to Darien Lake, the cool ass one. So my mom
it's just like everywhere else. Like it eventually morphed into a Six Flags. But that's just so people know the reference.
Yeah, it was the good one. So my mom comes home. She's like, "Hey guys, check it out. Here's what we're doing. We are doing the company picnic thing like the guys at Harrison's doing." Me and my brother are like, "Yeah, man, cool. Yeah, we're all gonna go to Fantasy Island, which is the rickety ass second-rate place. Yeah, and it's a company picnic." And I'm like,
there was a cowboy show. There was a cowboy show, and there was the good guys and the bad guys. And I remember like a guy rolled off the roof and it was so bad, but they were using cap guns and there was a show and you would sit around and you'd watch this cowboy show. It was just one of the things that you did. Now, Fantasy Island, the park, I specifically remember my dad carrying this big ass cooler. They let you bring in your cooler. So what people did back then, and this is kind of a cool memory too, is because it's cool because my dad's a part of it. So much of growing up, my dad was just working. But I remember my dad there and he's carrying this big Coleman cooler It's huge, but it's
no
metal.
wheels back then on those things.
Fucking,
No wheels.
it's fucking metal, and there's no wheels, there's no nothing. And he's carrying this. So what you would do is you'd get there early, you'd try to find a picnic table that was under a tree, and everybody just commandeered a picnic table, and you would put your cooler on there. And the thing to do was you would bring a blanket and you would cover it. And that just meant that, hey, the Ryans are squatting here, you know, but everybody did the same thing. You covered it for some reason. And because you brought a blanket for the kids, I guess, but you were allowed to bring your own food. And that probably added to why my parents wanted to go there, because here I am and we're walking around. And when you go to a place like that, just think of any fair, rodeo, anything. You want all the junk food that they sell there. Oh, and my mom brought all this shit. She's like, no, we're not getting that. I got sandwiches. I got sandwich
out of some tin foil.
I got sandwiches. And then, you want the drink. No, I got you a little hug and sandwiches. We're going to go back. We're going to eat.
I made a gallon of Kool-Aid. You're drinking this shit.
Can I get a pretzel? No, we got sandwiches.
We got some bomb ass pretzels back at the picnic table.
Yes. But isn't that weird that they let you bring a cooler into that?
They didn't quite understand all the marketing and all the merch and stuff back then.
Okay. Speaking of merch, if you remember this, and this is something that, again, just it's all coming out, Fantasy Island specific. When you left Fantasy Island, you go to your car at the end of the day, right? Dude, they would put a fucking Fantasy Island bumper sticker on your car. They wouldn't ask.
Oh,
just think about that in today's day and age.
Oh God, nobody would go for that.
But when you went, the time that you're in the park, some kid was paid. His job was to go out and put a bumper sticker on your chrome bumper.
Oof.
You'd leave with a Fantasy Island sticker and you never thought twice about it. As a matter of fact, it's a fucking badge of honor. We've already been. Oh my God. Oh, you guys, Fantasy Island. You guys already went, huh? Yeah, we're going next week. We'll have our sticker next weekend. Okay. Nobody questioned it because you and I, when we got into radio, we came in at a time where there were still bumper stickers, but they were just morphing into, they were kind of morphing into window stickers.
Yeah, because nobody wanted that shit on their car anymore.
Nobody wanted a bumper sticker on their car, but a lot of radio station promotions when we first started were based around a bumper sticker. Our good friend Jerry, the Prize Fairy, how he got his in radio is he would be in a company vehicle and he would be driving around and he'd be looking for bumper stickers during afternoon drive. And he would get on the phone with the drive guy, Meltdown, and Meltdown would say, okay, what do you got? And he's like, okay, I got a car in front of me. The problem with Jerry is Jerry knew nothing about cars. He didn't know makes or models. He didn't know years. He didn't know anything. So he's on the radio and he's describing this car.
Right.
The way the promotion works is you're hoping that person not only has a bumper sticker, but they're listening live. So they're going to, hey, that's my car they're talking about. Jerry didn't know any of the cars.
The best.
I remember Meltdown being so is it an Oldsmobile? Is it a Plymouth? Jerry didn't know.
Nope.
He would say, here's the license plate. And he's driving and writing things down and talking on the radio. It's completely unsafe.
Totally
but
horrible.
If there was a Fox bumper sticker, that was his job. He was Jerry the Prize Fairy.
It's so great. It's so great. I forgot all that. Yeah.
But bumper stickers used to be a thing. And Fantasy Island would slap one on your car. Nobody thought anything of it. I don't remember one person being upset that they got a bumper sticker on their car.
Well, like you said, it was a cool thing because, hey, man, you went to the amusement park. You had a fun time. And look, it was a
very cool thing on your car. It was a very cool thing. Like, look at that. That's a fucking fun family right there. They've been to Fantasy Island already. It's like, it's only July and they've already got a Fantasy Island sticker.
It'd be Labor Day and I'd be like, oh man, I ain't got a sticker on mine yet.
Hey,
this sucks.
The Ryans got a sticker. Okay. It's not even the 4th of July yet. The Ryans got a sticker. Okay. What are we doing over here? When are we going?
It'd be after Labor Day here. The Ginty's got theirs because we have to wait till prices go down after Labor Day, dude.
Shit.
Yeah. No, summertime. You know what? That's the thing is like you were talking earlier. Like I don't remember doing dick all during the summer. I don't remember eating lunch. and it just kind of goes by in a blur. But you know what? Even when you came up like we did, your parents still found shit to do. You still did a couple things. There's always the family picnics. You'd have people over for 4th of July. All the parents get wasted and you're running around doing dumb shit late at night. You could stay up later those nights. You know, there's always fireworks, somehow blowing up frogs. I mean, there was always some bad shit you'd be doing. It was awesome.
And that makes me look forward to summer still. I'm not a teacher. You're not a teacher. We work all summer. But there's still something magical about summer to me. And I don't know if even one person is listening to this fucking podcast right now of all these personal stories, but like, that's the reason I'm flushing it out right now. That's the reason why I talk about summer the way that I do. It's fucking 100 degrees down here. Okay.
Yeah, it's different here. Yeah.
Please tell me you guys had these great memories of summer. I mean, share with us, like, what did you do during the summer? Because you can't tell me, because this is something that, adults will tell me that, no, we played outside. We, even here in Houston, New Orleans, okay, it didn't get to 100 degrees in Buffalo and where we grew up. You played outside and it did get hot. You guys laugh. It really did. It got hot. You didn't care. But kids still here, you grew up that way, Right. People will tell really wild stories to me about Astroworld. So as we're talking about these ghetto parks that we went to, kids here had Astroworld, and that was badass. Okay. But the stories, Jason, you would die of a 11-year-old and their 7-year-old sister and $5 a piece. And the parents dropped them off there in the morning and picked them up at night. And they spent the whole day at Astroworld, and they had a season pass. That was their babysitter.
Ooh-wee.
There are 11-year-olds that can tell you that story of being in charge of maybe 2 younger people at 10 or 11. And you're there to fend for yourself all day.
But it's not just you. There's a million other kids in the same boat running around.
Correct. But
that's cool.
Just couldn't do that now, right?
No, I would never think about that.
If we're going to get blown up from any Houston people listening, it's going to be Astroworld stories, just like we're talking. And you're going to hear that story, dude. You're going to hear it. You're going to be blown away. Like, how could a fucking 10-year-old and an 8-year-old be dropped off at the front door with their pass? And some people will say with no money, they had drinking fountains. You're fine.
You'll be fine.
Drink out. You'll be fine.
Yep.
But kids had season passes, dude. And somehow, some way, they spent every day there in the summer.
Awesome. Can you imagine the fun that must have been, though? Like, that was the rides with all your friends are there, and just
that was awesome. Houston's summer camp.
Summer babysitter was Astroworld. That's fun.
In the 70s and the 80s, Astroworld was a babysitter all day during the summer for a lot of kids. Yeah, wow. Amazing. I'm blown away. And they're not lying. They're telling me these stories, and I'm like, God damn, what a different time.
Absolutely. But it's fun. It's fun. You sit around talking about this shit. It's like you realize, and like you said, you still love summer to this day. I still love summer. When my kid's done with school, I feel like something happened to me. I'm done with school, but I'm not in school, but I'm done with it. And now it's summertime. Yeah. Now I can have fun. And you know what I always used to hate? 2 things. And I still don't like it to this day is I don't like Sunday evenings because I know I'm going to school the next day, even though I haven't been in school in years. I still can't quite get through a Sunday night without feeling weird or anxiety and shit. And then Labor Day weekend, I've always hated Labor Day weekend because that was always when we'd go back to school. We'd go back to school on that Tuesday after Labor Day.
Jerry Lewis on TV was like, shit.
Hey, it was the end.
We're going back to school,
and I'm going back. I can't even to this day, and it doesn't matter anymore. A grown ass adult, but Labor Day, I just get bummed out every year, man. I just get bummed out. I'm like,
it's true,
man. And it's just that whole school, beginning of summer, end of summer, man. It's that bookends, and it's like and even today, like when I talk to my son or somebody or one of his buddies. I never bring up anything outside of, hey, it's summer. Like, hey, what do you do? Hey, you playing football this fall? No, because that means summer's over. Don't talk about it. You know what I mean? You stick to summertime discussions. You don't put that kind of thing on a kid. You know, it's all about summertime. And popsicles, dude, fuck, if I didn't have a popsicle in my hand each day and you had the popsicle sticks and you make your little deals out of popsicle sticks. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
The ice cream truck. Holy shit.
Forget about it.
The ice cream. You know, that
in my house, you learned if the music was on meant he was out of ice cream. That is fucking child abuse.
Really?
That's a real story, guys. Okay. If the music was on, meant he was out of ice cream.
No way.
We believed it for a long time. Right up there with right up there. If you swallow, right up there with, you got to wait 30 minutes to go swimming. Yes. And if you swallow a watermelon seed, a watermelon's going to grow in your belly. 1, 2, and 3 of flat out lies my mom told us for years. And I subscribed to those things. Okay. Wait, now I got receipts. I'll go to my mom and I will tell her, this is what you did to me when I was young.
Holy dude. I get the watermelon seed thing and the swimming thing. That ice, those are a standard issue parentism. The watermelon, the don't eat after or don't swim after a half hour eating. Dude, that ice cream thing, that's fucked up.
The music on, he's out.
Dude,
God damn. Why are you torturing us? Why are you running by here if you're out, dude?
Holy dude, I've never heard anything so evil ever. Oh my God, that is absolutely horrible. Holy shit.
Welcome to Irene Ryan's world. Okay.
If the ice cream truck music is on, that's the sign. Hey, don't come out. I got no more push-ups.
He's out. Shit. Nothing. God, the music's on again. He's out.
Wow, dude, that's evil. That is so brutal. I've never heard anything like that in my life.
That's what I come from, dude. That's why I am the way I am. Okay. Those were things that I was being told on the regular and believed. Okay. I was betrayed as a child.
If the music's on, he's out. Dude, I will be talking about that and thinking about that the rest of the night. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, that's brutal. That's just fucking brutal.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I would rather get on that hippie bus and go to Bible camp than fucking have to deal. Wow.
It's amazing that I'm here. It's amazing that I'm able to even be here. I mean, even in parts, but it's amazing.
You got metal in your knee, dude. So that's crazy. Oh, the ice cream truck.
No metal in that knee.
It's not but the staple.
Well, I got metal in it now, but on the inside, it was all sutures. He made pot holders of my tendons and put them all, and he just pot holdered them inside my knee. So he stretched them just like we talked about those damn pot holders. Wow. It's all sutures. So yeah, no metal. But yeah, you're right. I got 21 hunks of metal in there right now.
Dude, full circle. Nice way to bring that back around. Any final thoughts? Because man, I can't get past the ice cream truck thing, dude. I'm done. I'm out. I am so out right now. I can't wait to tell my mom about that. Hey, Ma, you're never gonna believe this.
No, tell your kid that and see if you can get away with it.
He doesn't
see how long.
I haven't seen an ice cream truck in years. Do they still have them?
I got Elote Man that comes through by my house, and it's awesome. Really? So by that look, you don't know what elote is because we grew up in the same area, and I didn't know about elote until I moved here. But it's corn, and it's street corn, and it's you kind of cook it on the grill, so you char your corn, and then it's kind of a mixture of a Mexican sour cream crema. And then you put in that stinky Mexican cheese, and then you roll it in there, and you put like chili powder on it. It's delicious, dude.
Jeez, that sounds good.
It's delicious. I make it, and I'm not describing it. I'm blanking on some of the ingredients, but there's not a whole lot to it. But there's a guy that sells that. He's got the ice cream. So he's got the little Tweety bird that they're probably 100 years old, but my kid loses her mind over those. And then he's got some other Mexican delicacies, some weird chips that he sells. But yeah, he comes by on his like 3-wheel bike and rings the bell. Cha-ting, 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 cha-ting.
Just shame he's out. He rings that
He's ringing the bell.
Just, hey, don't come out. We're good.
That's it. No, Elote Man's out. He's ringing the bell again. Just let us know he's coming through.
Holy shit, that is fucked up. Wow, dude, that's insane. The ice cream truck is killing me right now. Wow. Yeah, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Just I'll probably have more information if we do a podcast 2 weeks in a row. But the Rod Ryan Show Care store is going to be opening. I've done a sneak peek of 2 designs. We got some great designs. We got some cool summer shirts, and we're going to raise money again for backpacks for kids. We're going to work with Houston Children's Charity. I need $80,000. I need $80,000 for 4,000 backpacks. And the backpacks we've talked about, they're filled with age appropriate school items. So the grade school kids get the grade school stuff with the little rounded scissors, and then the middle school kids and the high school kids. So they're age appropriate is what I'm saying. And so they're expensive because they're loaded, they're full. So a kid starts school with all the stuff that they need, with all of these, you'd think by listening to me that, my mom fed us dirt every day, and we didn't. We ate, and we always had what we needed.
Not ice cream.
We were low income, and that's why I was able to go to the Niagara County Health Camp for 9 days.
Make potholders and
yeah. And but we did always have the stuff that we needed. And there's a lot of kids that don't start school that way. And it's all about fitting in, and you don't want to be that kid that doesn't have the stuff. So that's what we do every summer. And the shirts and the store will be open by the end of the week. The Rod Ryan Show Cares online.com. We'll get you to the store. So as soon as it's up, I will share a link up on the Playpants socials as well.
Yeah. And the shirts are very cool every year, man. They're very, very cool. So,
this is an old Rod Ryan Show shirt right here.
And then it goes and it helps the backpack thing. So you're getting a cool shirt. It's awesome, dude. And you know what? Really, I'm just throwing this out there. We'll have to check with our people in the podcast world, but maybe we'll make that or other advertisement for the next few episodes throughout the summer, make that a commercial on here. I'm just spitballing right now. I'm just thinking maybe that's what we should do. Cause that's a great cause. And I know you put a lot of effort to do it. So, any way we can support that.
Okay.
Friends tell friends about it, man. Once this thing's live, just tell everybody. Cause it's awesome. It's very, very cool what you do with that stuff. So
we'll be doing some other events and other things. And then, Ditch Day is Friday, dude. So what started out as Senior Skip Day, has now continued. And I got tired of explaining Senior Skip Day.
Yeah.
People are like, what are you talking about, Rod? We're adults now, again, acting like I'm in school still. So I morphed it into Ditch Day, and it's just day drinking. Friday's the day. Yeah. I'm going out there with my rubber leg and everything. So that's going to be a fun one. And it's my first kind of party with Yuengling. Everybody knows that I spoke for Another Beer for the last 18 years. And I did a ton with them in New Orleans too. Okay. So this is such a shift in dynamic. So Yuengling is on board, and it's kind of like our first coming out party together.
Nice.
So yeah, Flight by Yuengling is like their light beer. And it's awesome. I wouldn't speak about it if I didn't like it. And it's weird talking about Another Beer, dude, but I'm on board with it. It's awesome. They want to play. We're going to be doing some fun things this summer.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. Congrats on that. That's very cool, man.
So awesome. Ditch Day, did the invite, did it not get there? Ditch Day. It's at noon on Friday at Little Woodrow's in Midtown. See you there, bro.
I'm not gonna be. I gotta go see Top. I gotta go see Top Gun, dude. You told me I'd go see Top Gun.
I'm a program director of a couple radio stations. I got people working for me.
I got phone calls to make and shit. All that important stuff. By the way, I've been doing it. What is it, 5 or 6 weeks now, right? And you got your honeymoon phase when you start a new job.
Yeah, and, you acted like they liked you. They thought you were a big deal.
I thought I liked them. They liked me, and we're in that. Okay, well, now we got some issues we got to iron out here and there. And you know what? I got to be honest, man. So far, so good. And being out of the game in the programming and in the alternative world for so long, or being out of it for so long, it's been relearning a lot of shit. But it's funny how we've talked about radio on the podcast a million times, obviously, but there's certain things that have changed, but the basic fucking premise is the same damn thing. It really is. It's cool to have this odd opportunity for me to be out of it for so long and now jump back into it and go, oh, it's kind of the same, but a little different on the edges. There's still some cool shit. And, it's been fun. Yeah, I mean, the work has been crazy. Holy shit. I that part I didn't miss. and the responsibilities, you're right. Yeah, there's people and there's a lot of things.
I'm responsible for all these people. I gotta work.
I don't like that part sucks. I'll be straight up. That part sucks. I don't like that very much. But
guys, get your time cards in. I need time cards. You want to get paid? I need time cards.
Somebody, it's like, hey, somebody asked me the other day, they're like, man, do you like programming radio stations? I go, fuck yeah, dude. I'm the guy who's, I'm pulling the levers. It's like the radio wizard you got. He's pulling the levers and you've programmed radio stations before. You program your morning show. That part you love to do. That part's the fun part. What they pay you for is the collecting time cards and the fucking bullshit that goes with it. I've programmed radio stations for free all day long. I love doing that. That's fun. Yeah, there's strategy and you're stuff we've talked about. You're putting that to work. It's the bullshit. It's the, hey man, I lost my keys to get in the building. Can you let me in? It's all the fucking babysitting. And again, I'm not saying that because I got a bad staff. We got a great crew, but it's just all those things that go with it. It's the bullshit. The water guy doesn't know where the fucking go. You got to go help the water guy deliver the water. It's like, seriously, bro, that's what you pay for, That's my final thought. It's just, it's so far so good. They haven't fired me yet. So I think I must be doing something right.
Maybe.
So far, maybe. What is it? 90 days you got to make it through before you're technically.
I think so. Yeah.
So that's the time to go. I shouldn't have said anything. I've jinxed myself, bro.
All right. I got to go get my foot on ice.
Yeah,
my
go
foot.
Throw that thing in.
I'm not putting ice on my knee. I'm putting ice. My foot just swells up now.
And that's because of the wound.
Oh, yeah. If you saw my foot, you'd die. Well, I sent you a picture. You see the bruise around it and stuff. It's nasty.
Stop sending me those fucking pictures. That's gross. Like,
No, I got to live with this Franken knee. You're living with this Franken knee.
All right. Well, hopefully we make it through this week and then we'll be back next week for episode 54. Thanks for listening. Check us out on the socials at PlayPantsPod. Check us out on YouTube, man. Subscribe, like. You can watch this whole chaos unfold on YouTube. Leave your comments. We do try to answer those. No top 5 for the first time ever on this podcast. I just wanted to bring that up.
I was going to say, and don't forget, send us your top 5s. I was just going to leave it at that.
Who is it? Who's the guy that always gives a shit? Is it Josh Tree? Am I getting that right? He's
a shit disher outer for sure.
Oh, I love that guy. He's awesome. He calls it, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right, bro. And he's like, you guys don't have to do a top 5, right? And it's like, yeah, but we kind of, it's our thing. So us not doing it, there you go. We've delivered by not doing one this week for one guy. So thanks for checking us out, man. Rod, hope you feel better in about 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. All right. Later, guys. Thank you.
Let's go. It's time. Put on pants.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts. See us on our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages at PlayPantsPod.